Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that tells us truth, and much respect to the Akim out there laboring in his work, and peace and salutations to the hopefully elect that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. To you I say, Shalom. So yeah, there's going to be another quick news and prophecy update. And so as you can see from Blacklisted News, it says the Biden administration negotiates deal to give WHO authority over U.S. pandemic policies. And that's huge, all right? So as these devils continue to make laws and legislations, making unrighteous decrees, we're starting to see the build up unto that great persecution, that great siege that is prophesied to come against mainly you Israelites, man, because this whole NWO thing and dealing with these United Nations is geared towards destroying you Israelites. And it's symbolic unto 70 AD when the Romans sacked the temple of Jerusalem, all right? And there was a great slaughter of the Israelites. Mainly the Christians are ones that have had this testimony of our Lord Yahushua. But the difference between these times is the fact that the Lord has ordained salvation for those who died back then in the faith. All right. But on the flip side of that, he's going to let Esau have his way with the rebellious 2/3 who refuse to return. So we're seeing this narrative build up as we speak. If you're watching, all right, you've been seeing United Nations military equipment being transported within the cities. All right, tanks and MRAPs, okay, different kind of equipment that we've been seeing for some time now, being pushed into the cities, and that's all to get ready for an emergency, a certain emergency that's going to allow these UN troops to come in and pretty much dictate the city, dictate what goes on. All right, and they're going to be issuing out the chip and jabs. Okay, so this is that time of Esau coming with his great wrath that we've been prophesying about. So I just want to read a little bit of this. It's a long read. I'm just gonna get a few points, but these are the times that we've been warning you Israelites about, man. And we're about to see 1 Peter 4:17 kick in very soon. So right here it says, the Biden administration is preparing to sign up the United States to a legally binding accord with the WHO that would give the Geneva-based United Nations Health Agency the authority to dictate America's policies during a pandemic. So they're going to be in control of what goes on, as I said before, within the jurisdiction of the landscape of America, all right? And also these other nations as well. So America is going to pretty much surrender its sovereignty, its constitution unto the United Nations. So your rights, your so-called freedom rights are going to be suspended during that time or terminated, all right? And you should know how these UN troops get down. Once there's an issue within another nation, all right, it's a certain kind of emergency. There's all kinds of stories about how these United Nations troops go in, they pillage and they rape, murder, and kill women and children. So just imagine how much more worse it's going to be in America, which this place is hated by these other nations. So let's continue reading. It says, let's just skip down for the sake of time. It says right here, written under the banner of the world together equitably, the zero draft grants the WHO the power to declare and manage a global pandemic emergency. Once a health emergency is declared, all signatories, including the United States, will submit to the authority of the WHO regarding treatments, government regulations, such as lockdowns, and jab mandates. All right. So these United troops United Nations troops are going to play a big part in issuing in that Caragna. Get straight to the point, all right? They're going to be the ones that's going to be set up these shipping stations, okay? And they're going to have all the possessions within their authority, the food, everything that you may need to survive. They're going to have it, but you're going to have to take that Caragna in order to eat in that time, unless you're dependent on Yahweh Shema Shai. So it says global supply chains, right? Global supply chains and monitoring and surveillance of populations. Okay? So let's get a scripture real quick, because Revelation 13 pretty much goes into these draconian measures that are going to take place. All right? So Revelation 13 and verse 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast, America, come up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." And that's talking about the Democrat and Republic, which is symbolic unto the plebeians and patricians during the Roman Empire, in which they come into you in this peaceful manner, as if they mean well for you. But ultimately, it says, "And he spake as a dragon." Now, this word dragon goes into a draconian or dracon. All right. And it's in the Strong's G 1404.
Strong's G 1404. Dracon. Dracon.
Yep. A dragon, a great serpent, a name for Satan. So this goes into the word draconian. And of course, draconian dealt with harsh laws, all right, punishable to death, strict laws, all right. So the Wikipedia definition, it says draconian is an adjective meaning of great severity that derives from Draco, an Athenian lawgiver, all right, a law scribe under whom small offenses had heavy punishments. Yeah, so it's gonna get real tight once they lock these cities down, all right. They're gonna be very strict, and if you make one sudden move, that could definitely cost you your life in that time. That's why, the wisdom of the scriptures and complying is gonna be critical in that time, all right, because you're gonna see a lot of rebellion, and it's gonna lead a lot of people to be killed. All right. So let's go back into this article. So as it says, centralized pandemic response. Now, a pandemic can be anything according to the UN, man. It is not just limited to diseases. This can be towards, pretty much disobedience and not complying unto the government, as far as like misinformation and something like that. And we're going to read about that real quick. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to scale on down. And here you go. One Health surveillance and misinformation, okay, which is labeled as a pandemic. So it says the WHO pandemic agrees calls for member states to implement One Health surveillance. One Health is a concept that has been embraced by the United Nations, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the World Bank, and other global organizations. So you got the World Bank including that too. So that should automatically make you think about buying and selling this One Health surveillance. All right, showing you that they're going to be issuing out that Caragna. So let's skip down. Just going to highlight a few points. So right here, it says, so public health can be deemed to include climate or racism. See that? Or racism. Why is racism in that, man? Or fisheries management. And this is being used to claim that addressing carbon emissions is a health issue and therefore a health emergency. So racism is going to be included into being a health emergency, man. So let's continue reading on. There's another point right here. At the top says signatories also agree to support the official narrative when it comes to information about a epidemic. Specifically, they will conduct regular social listening and analysis to identify the prevalence and profiles of misinformation. See that? You see what's going on here? All right. So they're going to have a system in place to identify misinformation. Now, ultimately, racism is included into that as well. So you can kind of put two and two together and see, what this is geared towards. It's geared towards the Israelites. It says, and design communications and messaging strategies for the public to counteract misinformation, disinformation, and false news, thereby strengthening public trust. So they're going to get the public on their side to identify anyone who is speaking out against, the NWO or racism or, any kind of religious beliefs that may be, counterproductive to the NWO. So ultimately, we know the greatest threat is the truth, these scriptures. And Esau is hurt, man. So, once they issue in martial law and these UN troops come in, the ones who are teaching are going to be a target. It's going to be like a public health emergency, okay? And that's going to allow these devils to come in. All right, that's pretty much it on that. You can go and read this for yourself. So let's get into the scriptures. So these devils are plotting, as you get in Psalm 37. All right. In verse 12, the wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. His military, when these UN troops come in, all right, this first starts with his legislations. All right, his laws and legislations. As he's laying snares and traps, is going to allow him to bring in his teeth, his military, to devour. All right, but it says, but the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So Yahweh Bashmal Shah is ultimately, baiting Esau into a trap. Now Esau is going to be allowed to take the 2/3 and have his way with him because they're not going to have a hedge, simply because they didn't want to obey the gospel. You get in 1 Peter 4:17, but for the elect, there will be protection in these times, right? Unlike in the time of 70 AD, in which these devils pretty much had their way with the so-called Christians, the Israelites, the ones that believe in our Lord Yahweh Shah. All right, and that's where you get Isaiah 59:19, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. All right, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Okay. So yeah, verse 14 says, the wicked have drawn out the sword, his mouthpiece, and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy. That's the elect. And the slaves such as be of upright conversation. That's that misinformation, man. You see? That's that misinformation. We have the 100% truth, which is completely offensive to Esau. And he's laying a snare for the ones who are teaching about his downfall. Because ultimately, we're just decreeing what's written in the scriptures. And this is the counsel of Yahweh Bashmal Shah. So Isaiah 29. Let's see. Okay. And we'll start at verse 18. It says, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and that's the elect. Okay. And the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity, out of confusion, and out of darkness. Okay. So this truth will shine upon the elect in these latter days. Something that Esau has pretty much covered up for all these times, man. All right. As you get in Psalm 37 and 35. Let me just go ahead and get it real quick. Psalm 37 and 35. King David said, I have seen a wicked in great power and spread himself like a green bay tree. And that is what causes darkness, man, over this earth. All right. But Yahweh Shai has come with the light. And we have, been quickened in the spirit. Our ears have been opened and our eyes have been open as well, okay, to see out of obscurity and out of darkness. So verse 19, the meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shah, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught. Who is the terrible one? Esau. He's being brought to naught. He's being cast down by this word. and a scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word. You see, they come to the ones who speak upright, man. They make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare or a trap in him that reprove in the gate. And we at the gates of the cities, man. All right, calling out the weakness of Esau. So they're laying a snare and turn aside the just for a thing or not. All right. So yeah, snare is being laid, but ultimately, what the Lord say? He's not gonna give us as a prey unto his teeth. All right. I think it's in what is that, Psalm 124. Yep, we'll just read the whole thing. All right. It says, praise for rescue from enemies, man, because they coming. It says, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Ashah who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Ashah who was on our side, when men rose up against us, you see, these UN troops, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. You see, because they're coming, the scriptures say, I must get it. Because Jake thinks it's a game. Jake think that there's not gonna be a persecution. Nigga teaching about this, Jacob's trouble is not coming anymore. That's already passed. 2 Corinthians 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude, these UN troops, is kindled over you. All right, and they should take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Okay, and as we just read, they're gonna be issuing out the jab, so on and so forth. And they're gonna have the crowd as well. Okay, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So to agree with them, they're gonna beat your ass anyway. All right. For there should be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. The UN troops, man. They should be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, you Israelites. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. All right, so ultimately the Lord's not going to give us, the elect, as a prey unto their teeth. There's going to be a heads there. So let's go back to Psalm 124 and verse 3. Then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Matter of fact, verse 2. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side when man rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick when the wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us, the stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Ashah, who had not given us as a prey to their teeth. You see, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped. The trap that Esau has set, all right, who was the fowler, that he's setting for us with his NWO plans, all right, it's going to be broken when this man comes in. So our help is in the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Ashah, who made the heaven and the earth. So anyone who is not coming in that name and believing in the correct doctrine, well, you're going to be given over as a prey unto Esau. All right, let's get this and we'll close it out. 1 Timothy 4 and 16, it says, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee, man. All right, and that lines up with 1 Peter 4 and 17, for the time has come, and the judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel? Showing you how severe you believing in the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai is going to lead to your salvation or your damnation. So with that, Lord willing, and you were edified. Until next time, I say, Shalom.